Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're doing a bit of a showcase of the new legend, JINBE, taking him into some hard pieces of content in the game, and talking about his kit, talking about his strength, talking about his weakness, and sort of giving you a rundown of what I personally think about this particular legend. So, Treasure Map JINBE, the new Treasure Map legend that did come out for the Who's Who Sugo Fest, Treasure Map Sugo Fest, is a very interesting unit. He is a fighter powerhouse Psy captain. It is a 5.4 times attack boost if you were at full HP. If you're not at full HP, he's a 5 times captain. He gives 1.4 times HP. And then he has 10% damage reduction. He also has this very neat effect that you can kind of see in the top left-hand corner above the HP bar, so about the middle left-hand side, where he actually gives a damage null buff. And this actually stacks if you are running 2 JINBEs, which I really like, because it was a little bit unclear how that would actually operate when we received JINBE's information to start with. Now, this particular effect is actually very interesting. I wouldn't say it's super broken, but the way it works is when you take damage, like you guys saw there against Who's Who, you actually just don't take damage at all, which is very intriguing. Now, this is actually really good. You'll see this on the next stage against Black Maria. It can be very beneficial. However, JINBE in his captain ability doesn't actually give any cooldowns. He doesn't really give any matching slots, and that is a bit of a deficit, as if you have to stall out for your specials, you actually lose this damage null effect. Now, against Black Maria, she normally does like a 99% HP cut, and JINBE with that damage null is very strong, because if you can get to this particular stage against like mini bosses on either arenas or on hard content, that damage null effect is going to be very powerful. However, if you have to stall out and you're sort of taking damage from the turtles that do very minimal to no damage at all, you're going to lose out on these really powerful effects. And when you get to the later stages of the quest, say like this Black Maria stage, you're not going to actually have it. So it's a bit of a downside that they didn't give JINBE any cooldown in his captain, or they didn't sort of make that damage null over a certain threshold. But nevertheless, if you can make it work like you saw there against Black Maria, it's actually very powerful. Completely getting around that absolutely monstrous HP cut, literally just with JINBE as our captain, is very cool. Obviously, it has its downsides as well, where like you saw against Who's Who did the same thing, but like we lost one of them. The fact that they stack with 2 JINBEs is actually very powerful. I don't know if it actually works in the way of if you have like Robin on the team, or like utilizing a Robin character means that you can stack it again, or other characters that give you damage null, or if it just gives you another buff, because it'd be very interesting to see how that actually operates if you do use a character like that. But nevertheless, JINBE as a captain is very strong. He's got a very powerful 5.4 times captain ability. He's a superclass fighter unit too, so running him as a captain gives him access to a superclass mechanic and an additional special. But all in all, he's very tanky, he's very bulky, and he can actually output a lot of damage when you are at max HP. The thing is, though, you have to be at max HP to get that 5.4 times attack boost, which isn't that big of a deficit, as you have a lot of HP with JINBE, and you have a little bit of damage reduction, plus you have those damage nulling effects, and his superclass actually heals as well. With his superclass, you just need any of the Straw Hats on the crew. Now, this is I found to be not that amazing, because when it comes to fighter and powerhouse characters, like, you have to sort of find a spot for the Straw Hats, right? Now, Brook doesn't have a lot of powerhouse units, or any, really. Doesn't have any fighter characters. Robins obviously have a lot of fighters. Choppers have some fighters. Sanjis are all fighters. Usopp doesn't have any. Nami pretty much doesn't have any, or at all. And then Zoro and Luffy obviously have fighters and powerhouse units. But then with the addition of Sai, means that you can bring the Straw Hats in. I do wish that his superclass had, like, if you gave a chain boundary, or you had an attack boost, or if you had both, you could get his superclass as well. But nevertheless, it's literally just the Straw Hats. And with his superclass, he removes 3 turns of damage reduction, and then damage threshold, and then heals 20% of the crew's maximum HP, and gives you a full board of orbs over your type slots, making fighters into super fighters. Now, this is actually really good, because when you become superclasses, for fighters, you gain HP, so getting the heal is always beneficial. It brings you back to that max HP, and also helps out getting like that 5.4 times captain. But with JINBE, the heal I think is a little bit low. I think it could have been higher, just to sort of solidify staying at that max HP, or even giving him the ability to overheal would have been really cool. He also gives 50% damage reduction with his superclass, and it works out quite nicely. Big downside to Jinbe's captain as well, something I didn't touch on in the arena, is if you actually get your positive, your beneficial effects wiped like you see against Virgo, you just lose that damage null, and it's kind of like, well, now it's pointless, right? And then when you're below max HP, 5 times captain, whilst he's still strong, has dropped off quite a bit, given the power creep since probably around New Year's. But nevertheless, like I said, he's pretty good in terms of his captain and his superclass. He's a good captain, he's just not a amazing, like, broken-ass captain. With his special, though, his special does tie in with the whole being at max HP thing, so getting a heal with the superclass works quite nicely. His special completely removes damage reduction. So very similar to, like, Lucci, very similar to Vivi Rebecca and Sanji Pudding. You can completely remove a defensive effect on the enemy. It'd be really interesting to see how these characters, like the combination of Jinbe and Lucci, actually works together. I think that could be a very, very devastating combination. Completely removing defense up, completely removing damage reduction, getting an orb boost. Jinbe is actually an attack booster and a chain boundary unit, so you can get a lot of damage literally with just 2 units. So that is actually kind of cool. He does 120 times his attack in non-type damage to all enemies that ignores defensive effects, and if your HP is full when the special is launched, he sets the chain multiplier at 3.0, maxing at 40 times. Otherwise, if you're not at max HP, it's at 2.5, going up to 35 times. Now, I found this to be very interesting because it's a little bit odd that it goes from 3 all the way to 45 times if you're at max HP, and then if you're not, it goes down to 2.5, maxing at 35. That's a big difference. Like, it's a monster of a difference. 0.5 of a chain boost is actually very, very valuable, and if you guys have seen supports like Doffy, Zoro, Chopper, Nami, sorry, not Chopper, Sanji, the Nami, the Film Red Nami, that extra 0.5 can be the difference that you need in a lot of your damage, especially when you're, like, playing around with boosted units. So this is a little bit interesting to see that there's a drastic difference just by being at full HP. Like, if it was, like, above 50% HP, or if it was, like, above 90% HP, I think this would be way more beneficial. But the fact that at stage you have to be at full HP could be a little bit of an issue when you're using stuff like dual units, when you are utilizing super class mechanics or super type mechanics. Not really super type, actually, super class more or less. Or if you're using other characters that, like, cut your HP, you have to make sure that you use Jinbe first before you actually have that effect. However, like I said, he does have that healing mechanic with his super class, so that can help you out. You have characters like Luffy Sanji that can give recovery orbs and healing. You can also use, like, Shirahoshi Mancherry. You have a lot of very good healing characters, and the healing characters are going to be very, very good when it comes to utilizing Jinbe. It also states that if your crew has a chain lock or a chain boundary status, when the special is launched, Jinbe boosts Sai, Fighter, and Powerhouse characters' attack by 2.5 for 1 turn. So I do like that they added this. It basically means that if you run 2 Jinbes, it just gives you more viability with rocking the 2 Jinbe specials. That way you can get a chain boundary, you can get the attack boost. But 2.5 nowadays, with the condition, nonetheless, is actually quite low. In my opinion, the 2.5 is just, it's a little bit off the mark. And the fact that he's a chain boundary unit, going from 33 up to 40 times is great at max HP, but most of the time you'll probably see the 2.5 going to the 35 times chain. Another thing to note as well is that Powerhouse have, like, so many good chain boundary units already. They have Blackbeard, they have X-Drake that basically just do this chain boundary without that added addition effect of needing to be at max HP. So, whilst I think Powerhouse is very, very good, I just think Jinbe didn't need Powerhouse, and Powerhouse didn't need Jinbe. If Jinbe was cerebral, like I was saying in my local Sea Monster video, it would make him way more valuable, like, insanely more valuable. Cerebrals don't have, like, any very, like, good chain boundary units besides Crocodile. And for the Psy type, like, Psy Cerebral struggles so much that Jinbe just could have been such a great addition to that particular squad. I totally understand that he's a fighter superclass, and honestly, like, keeping him as a fighter superclass would have been fine. I would have loved to see him as a super type unit and then have Cerebral instead of Powerhouse. But look, that's just me nitpicking. Nevertheless, Jinbe, or Jimbo, as a character is very, very good. However, he's not a character that I would chase. He is going to be a very good option for something like Super Tandem Luffy, with getting some very big damage, very high damage numbers with his chain boundary. He's got great utility, obviously removing stuff like damage reduction effects. But as for that attack boost, I don't really see a situation where you're going to prioritize getting that attack boost But nevertheless, like, it is something that you can do. Not something that I would do, but something that you can do. He is a Psy-based captain too, which helps him out so drastically, and that's probably his biggest upside, is Psy is so very, very powerful. And fighters, like, whilst they're not exactly the greatest class in the world, they do have a lot of very good options as well. JINBE as a whole, I definitely wouldn't summon for. I definitely would let good old Jimbo come to you. But look, we'll have to wait and see what super bosses bring, what other content brings in the future, and see how this unit works, because treasure map legends are never to be underrated. They always have a tendency to sort of come out of nowhere and be absolute monsters, like Carrot Wanda, Izo, Kiku, all that sort of stuff is very, very good. As a support too, JINBE goes on any of the Straw Hats, and he reduces damage by 3% and increases the base HP by 15%. So he can be used as a very good support as well. But that's going to wrap up the showcase. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of JINBE in the comment section below. Do you like the unit? Do you dislike the unit? Did you summon for him? Let me know how your summons went. But most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. Demolish the like button, hit the big red subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.